While most of us are watching out for signs and symptoms of COVID-19, we could be ignoring something else that's making us sick. And I'm talking about too much screen time.
And you know, there's actually a term to describe it. It's called cybersickness. And if it goes untreated, it could cause some really big problems.
Well, we don't want that. So let's figure out what's going on here and then what we can do about it. Professor Bas Rokers with New York University knows all about it. He joins us live. Good morning to you. Welcome to Houston's Morning Show. Can you explain, first of all, what cybersickness is?
Good morning, Melissa and Jose. Really nice to be here. Just to quickly start on that, cybersickness is a kind of motion sickness that will happen in virtual and augmented reality devices or any sort of like immersive video games.
Can you tell us about some of the symptoms? How do you recognize that someone really does have cybersickness?
So cybersickness is a kind of motion sickness. And what happens is that your senses will receive conflicting information. Probably all of us are familiar with things like car sickness. That's another version of the same thing. So what happens in a car is that your visual information, which tells you that, well, if you're reading in a car, it tells you that you're standing still, and your sense of balance, which tells you that you're moving, are giving you conflicting pieces of information. And so as a result of that, you start to become nauseous. You might recognize you get sweaty palms. You might be a little bit disoriented. The same thing happens in cybersickness, but things are exactly the other way around. So typically, you're sitting in your chair playing a game. Your sense of balance tells you that you're stationary, but you have a lot of visual information that tells you you're moving through an environment. And that is a conflict, which then results in cybersickness.
Let's talk about what's going on during the pandemic, because it seems like we've all had so much extra time on our hands. Are you seeing a lot more of this being a problem during the past 16 months or so?
I mean, as people are flocking to entertainment that can be done in the home, then of course this is a bigger issue. And of course, there's also lots of companies that are really moving into this space. So yes, it's getting more of an issue.
So how do we avoid this problem? Limiting screen time would help. How much is too much screen time, though?
So I researched the causes. I don't know if I'm going to be like the right person to give you advice on telling your kids what's too much screen time. This is something that you have to decide for yourself. But obviously, if you or somebody you know is starting to become so nauseous that they're getting close to throwing up, then that would be a good sign that you should stop. There are ways to remediate this, though. So one thing you want to do is things get less severe with time. So as you practice, these symptoms tend to get less. And so what you want to do is start off with like easy experiences that don't include a lot of motion, and then go over time maybe to like more extreme experiences like a roller coaster simulator, which I really would not recommend you start with.
All right, well, we know it's time to hopefully get out and about, take our eyes off that screen no matter what. Even if you have to do it for work, it's a good idea to take a break, or for school. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me, Melissa. Thanks, Jose.